What if a massive solar storm hit Earth in 2025? How prepared are we? Picture this, a colossal wave of charged particles from the sun barreling towards our planet. It's not a scene from a science fiction movie, it's a real possibility, according to NASA's latest predictions. The impact could be far-reaching, from disrupting satellite communications and power grids to lighting up the sky with mesmerizing auroras. Intrigued? Stay tuned as we delve into the science of solar storms and assess our preparedness. So, what exactly is a solar storm? Picture our sun, a hot ball of glowing gases with a heart that reaches a scorching 15 million degrees Celsius. It's not just a static sphere in the sky, but a dynamic, living entity. Solar storms, also known as solar flares or coronal mass ejections, are essentially bursts of intense, high-energy radiation from the sun's surface. It all starts within the sun's core, where nuclear fusion takes place. This process releases energy that travels outward from the sun's core, causing the sun's surface or photosphere to heat up. Occasionally, this energy becomes so intense, it causes the sun to belch out a burst of radiation, or a solar flare. When the sun's magnetic field interacts with these flares, it sometimes results in a coronal mass ejection. This is a massive burst of solar wind, essentially a billion-ton cloud of magnetized plasma, ejected from the sun's outermost layer or corona. These storms, flares, and ejections are part of the sun's 11-year cycle, known as the solar cycle. During the solar cycle's peak, called solar maximum, the sun is incredibly active, producing many more flares and ejections than usual. To help us understand these phenomena, NASA has a team of experts constantly monitoring the sun's activity. They use advanced technology, including the Solar Dynamics Observatory and the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, to keep a close eye on any changes in solar activity. These findings are crucial in predicting when a solar storm might occur and how powerful it could be. Solar storms may sound terrifying, but remember, they are a natural part of our sun's life cycle. They have been occurring for billions of years, long before life even emerged on our planet. Now that we understand what a solar storm is, let's explore what could happen if one hits Earth. Imagine waking up one day to find your electronic devices rendered useless. A solar storm, a massive eruption of the sun's energy, can cause just that. Picture the sun as a giant ball of magnetized plasma, with its magnetic field lines constantly shifting and realigning. Sometimes these magnetic field lines become twisted and snap, releasing a colossal amount of energy in the form of a solar storm. Now let's talk about the potential impact of a solar storm on Earth, focusing on our technology and infrastructure. According to NASA experts, a severe solar storm could have significant effects on our daily life. It's like an electromagnetic pulse, but on a global scale. Our power grids, the backbone of modern society, could be severely disrupted. Transformers could be overloaded, causing widespread blackouts. Imagine cities plunged into darkness, hospitals without power, and transportation systems grinding to a halt. Our satellite communications too could be at risk. Satellites are particularly vulnerable to solar storms, and a direct hit could render them inoperable. This could disrupt GPS navigation, satellite TV, and many other services that we take for granted. Our electronic devices, which most of us can't imagine living without, could also be affected. The microchips that power our phones, computers, and other devices are susceptible to the effects of a solar storm. Even our internet, the digital superhighway that connects us all, could be disrupted. But it's not all doom and gloom. Solar storms also have a more visually stunning impact. They can cause spectacular displays of auroras, even in places far from the polar regions. Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing it filled with dazzling, dancing lights. In the words of one NASA expert, solar storms are a reminder of the sun's power and our vulnerability. But remember, these are potential impacts. The actual effects of a solar storm would depend on its size, duration, and the state of our protective measures at the time. You might be wondering, are we prepared for such an event? Let's delve into that next. NASA has been monitoring the sun's activity closely and has some predictions for the upcoming solar storm. With the advent of sophisticated technology and the dedication of a team of experts, NASA is on high alert, ready to respond to this celestial phenomenon. Their predictions suggest that the solar storm is set to occur around the year 2025. The organization's experts believe that the intensity of this solar storm will be significantly higher than the ones we've experienced before, potentially causing disruptions in our technological infrastructure. This includes, but is not limited to, satellite communications and power grids. However, NASA isn't just standing by idly. They have been working tirelessly to develop countermeasures and mitigation strategies. They've been running simulations, testing equipment and refining protocols to ensure that we're as prepared as possible for when the storm hits. For instance, they've been working on ways to shield satellites and other space-based assets from the harmful effects of the storm. They're also collaborating with other organizations worldwide to share knowledge and resources in a global effort to mitigate the impact of this event. In addition, NASA has been conducting extensive research to better understand the sun's behavior and its potential effects on Earth. They've launched missions like the Parker Solar Probe and the Solar Orbiter, which have been instrumental in providing us with invaluable data about our sun's activities. But it's not just about the technology. NASA has been advocating for public awareness and education about solar storms. They believe that understanding the nature of these events and their potential impacts can help us better respond and adapt when the time comes. Despite the potential risks, it's important to remember that solar storms are a natural part of our solar system's dynamics. They've happened before, and they'll happen again. It's our responsibility to learn, adapt, and prepare. With all this information, it's crucial to understand what we can do to mitigate the effects of a solar storm. While we can't prevent a solar storm, we can certainly take steps to minimize its impact. And these steps can be taken at individual, community, and even national levels. Let's start with what we can do as individuals. To protect our electronic devices, we could use protective cases or films that shield against electromagnetic radiation. It's also wise to have backup power sources such as solar chargers or generators in case the power grid is affected. For your personal safety, it's always a good idea to have an emergency kit with essentials like food, water, and first aid supplies. On a community level, we can push for stronger infrastructure. Power companies can upgrade their grids to be more resilient to solar storms. This might involve installing devices that can absorb or redirect the excess electrical current caused by a solar storm. Satellite companies can also harden their satellites against solar radiation, reducing the risk of communication disruptions. Now let's hear from some NASA experts. Our National Space Weather Strategy and Action Plan focuses on improving our ability to predict solar storms and mitigate their effects, says one expert. This includes enhancing our space weather observing systems and improving our understanding of the sun's behavior. Another expert adds, we're also working on developing technologies to protect our power grids and satellites. For example, we're testing materials that can shield against solar radiation and designing systems that can quickly disconnect from the grid in case of a solar storm. On the national level, governments can invest in research to better understand and predict solar storms. They can also work towards international cooperation, as solar storms are a global threat. By sharing data and resources, we can enhance our collective ability to weather solar storms. In conclusion, while solar storms pose a significant threat to our technological infrastructure, there's much we can do to protect ourselves and our communities. With ongoing research, technological advances, and some simple preparedness measures, we can mitigate the impacts of these solar events. With the right measures in place, we can weather this solar storm. A solar storm in 2025 is a possibility we must prepare for. And as we've discussed today, this preparation is multifaceted. It's about understanding what solar storms are, the impacts they can have on our planet and our lives, and the steps we can take to mitigate these effects. We've learned about the science behind solar storms, these dramatic releases of energy from the sun that can send charged particles hurtling towards Earth. We've also discussed the potential impact of these events, from disrupting satellite communications and power grids, to lighting up our skies with mesmerizing auroras. Our focus has been on preparedness, the measures we can take individually and collectively to mitigate the impact of a solar storm. This includes everything from developing robust technological infrastructures that can withstand such events, to having emergency plans in place should our daily lives be disrupted. The solar storm of 2025, as predicted by NASA, is a reminder of our planet's place in the larger cosmos. It's a call to action for all of us to stay informed, to understand the science, and to be prepared. As we move closer to 2025, remember, knowledge is our best defense against the upcoming solar storm. Stay informed, stay prepared. It's our collective responsibility to face this potential challenge head-on, armed with the best weapon we have, our understanding of the universe and our place within it.